What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bill's World. We are here on a glorious Sunday night as the Bills beat the Seattle Seahawks. Great game today. I'm here as always with Coach Muki Hawkins in the building. How you doing today, Coach? What's going on? How you feeling for that big?
Man, I'm going pretty good. You know, belt to ass in Seattle. I can tell you that much. Belt to ass. The belt travels all the way to the northwest, and the Bills get off to a fast start. Something that we probably haven't seen all season in this Buffalo Bills team. So, it was a good sight to see, especially on the road. Big win.
Yeah, we haven't seen the fast start since the first 2 weeks when they looked like they were unstoppable. But today, the narrative going into the game was the Bills can't beat good teams. It was the Bills, they aren't in the upper echelon of the AFC. We'll see what Amari Cooper can do, but as you know, they got some things to figure out as a team, and that the Seattle Seahawks are an up and coming team. They're at the top of the NFC West, and people thought that the Seahawks had a really good shot of winning this game. But it turns out the Bills just completely dominated the game from beginning to start. What was your thought on how the win looked and what it means for this team going forward?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out who they are. Who went on and created that narrative. When you look at
all of ESPN and Fox. Fox.
I don't know what they are. They need to give me their job then, because they beat an Atlanta team, and other than that, they didn't really beat anybody. When you look at their record, they were 4-3. They lost to the Green Bay Packers. So I don't know where people were saying. I don't know why those analysts were saying that they're an up and coming team. The Bills lost to Houston. They lost to Baltimore. They lost to two elite teams in conference. Other than that, they didn't lose to any mediocre team. So I beg to differ on that one. And now we see on the flip side of that, when Seattle plays a real team, what actually happens on the road. So, again, I guess there's going to be a lot of receipt checking in the morning when it comes to that. But I just don't understand where that would come from. The Bills put belt to ass from beginning to end. And, Mitch Trubisky was in the game, so it was good to see the Bills come out, play some complimentary football. You saw the Bills with some great balance on those two drives, especially to start the game off with a 90-yard drive with some good run and pass. It was good to finally see some consistency with Josh and Keon. I'm not sure why it was just taking so long for it to come to fruition, but the past two games, you've seen Keon Coleman and Josh kind of dialed in. Amari Cooper is still going to take some time to get things going, but you see the overall dynamic of Amari Cooper's presence out there on the field, which enables everybody else to eat again. And we saw Khalil Shakur, being, pretty much Mr. Clutch, as I've been calling him ever since he donned the Bills uniform. But, to see him basically Cole Beasley 2.0, right? So you saw that on display again as well. James Cook over 100 yards. That's what you need in this offense. And then what can I say about the defense? Still banged up a little bit. They do get Von Miller back next week. And, the Bills are looking pretty good in the division for sure.
Yeah, they look great in the division. You look at the standings, they're 6-2. They're 4 games ahead of the next closest team because they already have a win over the Jets and they already have a win over the Dolphins. So they have the head-to-head. You look at this game and the Bills really did everything. Josh threw for almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had that interception, but that was, Amari Cooper slipped. And, just like you get some of the interceptions that are dropped that don't go on your stat, you get something like that that's really not Josh's fault that will go on your stats, you know what I mean? But 103 basically rating, big game on the ground today, right? You got James Cook going over 100 yards at 6.5 a carry with 2 tuds. That's offensive player of the week type of stuff. Khalil Shakir going over 100 yards himself, right? Uh, 12 yards per catch. Keon Coleman, 14 yards per catch with 5 targets, right? He's getting a little more consistent. And those guys, Khalil and Keon, I don't know if it's the addition of Amari Cooper, but they're certainly a lot more, they seem a lot more dynamic out on the football field. And then you got to look at it today. Keon Coleman was matched up with Tariq Woolen. A lot of the plays didn't matter. Tariq Woolen is one of the best corners in the league, the best young cornerbacks in the league for sure. And he gets mossed in the end zone. Keon Coleman blocking him into the bench, and not only that, but there's a clip going around on Twitter where he comes off the line of scrimmage and just pushes him into the ground. I think that was DK Metcalf who do that to people. Yeah, he did that to Tariq Woolen today, and you got to think just like what this guy could be going forward. He's having a great couple weeks.
Yeah, he's definitely having a great couple of weeks because he's finally getting involved. And again, I just wasn't understanding what was taking it so long to come to fruition. You drafted a guy as your top pick this year. You kind of had him targeted. You moved back a couple of spots in the first round and made sure you got him in the second. So you got to get this guy going. Getting Keon Coleman going opens it up for everybody else as well. So, and yeah, if y'all want to match up 1-on-1 with Tariq Woolen, who's 6'2", 6'3", and runs a 4.2, that's all right. We got a guy that's 6'4", and let's match up with that. And we see Keon win majority of those battles today.
I got a question for you. When you look at Keon Coleman, it seems like ever since the Bills like traded for Amari Cooper and said we need a number one receiver, it seems like Keon Coleman is like took that personally and has decided, all right, no, I'm the number one receiver. Do you think, you around these players, you know them better than most people. Do you think that could be, some ego from Keon Coleman saying, oh, you think you need a number one guy? No, I'm the guy, and I'm going to do what it takes to win games here.
Nah, Keon is a very unselfish guy. I don't think that's never his mindset. He understands who Amari Cooper is. He understands what Amari Cooper brings to the table. Amari Cooper is 10-year veteran. Keon Coleman was in Little League when Amari Cooper was out here, balling. So he definitely doesn't have that mindset. Amari Cooper is a guy that a young rookie can definitely learn from. And, maybe that's giving him the confidence as well to go out there and perform the way he's performing. Because, I mean, who can he get that advice from? It's not like Stephon Diggs is on the team anymore. It's not like Gabe Davis is on the team anymore. So to be getting the tools from a guy like Amari Cooper can definitely build your confidence. And you've seen that grown in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the run game? I mean, you really all around outside of a little bit of sloppiness with the fumble and the interception with the rain playing a little bit of a factor. Actually, it played a pretty big factor early in the game with mistakes that the Seahawks made, and they didn't really recover from those mistakes. The Bills got lucky, and a lot of their mistakes ended up either not costing them too much or not costing them at all. But the run game was huge today, right? You got James Cook going for 6.5 a pop, and you got Ray Davis basically going for 5 a pop. How big is that in the effectiveness of this offense and the making Josh not have to do too much where he has these high turnover, rates?
Well, I think you're just looking at another maturation process with Josh. The game is ultimately slowed down for him, and he's really buying into what Brady is telling him. Like, just take what they give you. Don't try to force anything. Understand what teams are trying to do to you, and just go out there and make the best decision with the ball in your hands. And you've seen that over the past 4 weeks, really, in Josh Allen. So The game is ultra slowed down for him. It's not a scheme that he hasn't seen at this point. So again, it's all about leading his team, and the way you're going to do that is to, make right decisions. Not turning the ball over, get the ball into your playmakers' hands, and let them do the rest. And that's what Josh Allen really has been doing. He's not even really been running too much unless he really has to. He's called his own number a few times, but at the end of the day, he understands that he's surrounded by a lot of weaponry. And, he put that on full display. I mean, he was efficient again today with 24 for 34, over 280 yards. So if he can keep that up, keep consistency, and, just give his players a chance to go out there and make plays, then, the Bills will be able to continue to stack dubs.
Yeah, absolutely. They will be able to continue stout dubs. It's all, McDermott preaches it. And I think we get a little annoyed hearing it, especially after a loss, but it's really the truth. Complementary football is absolutely huge, not only in this league, but for this team specifically. That's how they thrive. They thrive off of each other. The offense and the defense work together in tandem to win these games, because when the offense scores early, that means the defense don't have to worry about the run too much, right? If you're putting points on the board, now the other team is focused on scoring points. Now they're going to throw. Now Gregory Rousseau and AJ Epinesa can get their ears pinned back and go after the quarterback. And Gregory Rousseau had another brilliant day today. This defensive line actually looks pretty dominant. You get Von Miller back here soon. What is the defense, their role, going to be going forward in the year for us to be championship contenders?
Well, like I said in the beginning of the year, I think the Bills' defensive line is probably the best rotation that they had. Better than last year's, basically. You bringing in Dwayne Smoot is very underrated. It's not really
Yeah.
getting talked about the things that he's doing out there on the field when it comes to being that. Basically, he took Shaq Lawson. He took over the Shaq Lawson role. He was the run the run stopper off the edge, the way that the Bills use Shaq Lawson. So you got Dwayne Smoot. He can play on the outside, as that run stopper, but he can also be a pass rusher on the defensive tackle side on the inside as well. So you got him, you got Austin Johnson, Ed Oliver. Like I said, they got a good rotation now with AJ Epinesa, Rousseau, Solomon, the rookie, got a sack today. So,
Yeah.
then again, Von Miller comes back next week. So the Bills were able to go 3-1 in Von Miller's absence. So, I think that's a win-win because, hey, you didn't save Von Miller for 4 games. It really didn't hurt your team too much. And, let's just hope that Von Miller can come back and give us that same consistency that he started the season with. So if he picks up where he left off, then, again, like I said at the beginning of the season, whatever Von Miller brings to the table is a bonus.
Yeah, it would absolutely be a bonus. And before his injury, he was actually playing really, really well. So, hopefully he gets right back in stride and, makes it work with Rousseau and Epinesa, who are both having great seasons. Everything looks like it's clicking right now for the Buffalo Bills. Even Tyler Bass is making all of his field goals, hasn't have really had any slip. I mean, there were some wobbles or whatever today, but it went through the uprights, and that's all that matters. So, he hasn't really had any hiccups since the extra kicker was brought in to give him some competition, and he's come through for the most part. Codrington is a great addition to special teams. He's given the Bills a lot of spark. And I asked earlier on Twitter what was people's favorite part about this game, and a lot of people said that the Bills were good in all 3 phases, which is huge, right? That's how you get a 31-10. I mean, really was 31-3 for most of the you know what I mean? That's pretty much what the game was. They got a garbage time touchdown, but that's how you get a dominant win like that, is when all 3 phases are working together. Just how will the Bills feel tomorrow or Tuesday when they're watching film and they see the entire team working together to win this game?
Oh, they're gonna be pumped up. I mean, they was pumped up on the sideline all the way from, John Drees' smack on special teams, all the way from Keon Coleman, ragdolling, the guy all the way to the sideline in a nice block, all the way to Deion Dawkins escorting James Cook in the end zone with that pancake block. I mean, it goes on and on from Matt Collins, being patient enough to recover that fumble on special teams, the way he went out there and blocked and supported the run blocking. So you saw that. You saw you've seen a lot of selflessness, a lot of unselfishness, out there with this Bills offense. And, once that happened, it breeds the confidence of the team that, if guys go out there and just do their job and do it at a high level, again, this Bills team is going to be tough to beat. And you see the continuity in this team already. And again, they haven't really even gelled yet. This is week 8, and they haven't really gelled. I asked Coach McDermott about that, last week. Once this team really starts to gel and get some of those, them core pieces back playing, then it's going to be extra dangerous at this point, because right now they're running away with the AFC East. Once they take care of the Dolphins next week, as we'll put the stamp on the division for a 5th straight year. Shout out to you, Peter Schrager, and everybody else who predicted the Jets in Miami to win the division this year. It's going to be receipt Monday tomorrow for sure. But I wonder what they're going to say tomorrow, on the way this Bills team went out here on the road in Seattle, which is a very tough place to play, and just went out here and dominated a good Seattle Seahawks team, So today, they showed everybody that, whatever you see now is not no fluke, that this team is one of the best in the NFL, and they're getting better every week.
Yeah. They absolutely are getting better every week. And it's a great thing to see at this point. You take a look at all the struggles that they had early in the season, and as frustrating as they are to go through, you kind of think to yourself, all right, at least this is happening early. They're getting time to gel. Hopefully they can catch a stride at the right time and get a deep playoff run here. And, they're doing it pretty well. They're doing what they need to do it. You take a look at the first two obviously you got your first quarter of the season, second quarter of the season. We just ended the second quarter of the season, right? So the first 4 games, 3-1, which you like to see it. Of course, you always want to go 4-0 for a quarter, but 3-1 is about as good as you can get without going 4-0. And then you start the second quarter of the season with another loss. So to clean up that quarter with 3 straight W's over the Jets, the Titans, and the Seahawks is absolutely huge. Now you got a big is relative, I guess. You got AFC East matchup coming up with the Dolphins. We're 4 games ahead of everybody, so it'd take a little bit of a collapse from the Bills as well as a streak from anybody else in order to threaten the Bills for the AFC East this season. But next week will be a big step towards that, as we have Miami coming to town. Any early thoughts on that game?
Well, again, a familiar foe, Miami. Tua's back. So, that makes that offense, explosive again, as you saw today. How Miami was able to get things going offensively. Throwing the deep passes to Tyreek Hill. We see A-Chain just get back to his normal self, whether he was running the ball or catching the ball. So, you saw that. But that defense still stays the same. So, if I say, if it comes down to a shootout between Tua or Josh Allen, you should know where I'm going with that.
Everybody should be going with there at this point. Now, the Dolphins did look good offensively. They looked good today. They looked like they were starting to get back to the Dolphins that everybody recognizes them as. It kind of makes you think like, hey, Tua is actually a really good quarterback, because nobody could seem to do anything with that offense, without him or outside of him. And so you see him come back and things look like, he never left. And I think that is a credit to Tua. But they still took a loss, which obviously pushed them further down in the standings. So obviously a big game for them coming up next week. A big game for us too, but especially if we want to keep pace. The Ravens taking the L today. That's huge in terms of seeding come playoff time. But man, Chiefs won again, so unless they get a little collapse coming soon, they might get the number
Oh,
one.
their collapse is coming soon. Right after this Dolphins game, they
You know what?
collapse.
I I didn't want to say it. I was feeling that, but I've learned my lesson about talking trash about the Chiefs because they always make me eat my words. So I looked at it. And I was like, I got a hill to climb up soon. But I will wait to see that actually happen before I verbalize it. You know what I mean? So third quarter of the season coming up. Bills first have the Dolphins. Then they go to Indianapolis to meet up with the Colts. And then you get the Chiefs coming to Buffalo in mid-November. You get a bye week in week 12. And then you close out the next quarter with a early December matchup versus the 49ers. So this stretch a little tougher, right? A little tougher in this next stretch, but we'll see what the Bills can do. Who any was there any player that stood out to you today, or a game MVP that you want to get to give out before we get up out of here?
I mean, Russell Douglas is not really getting his flowers the way he needs to get his flowers.
You're absolutely right.
Uh, he is not being mentioned. I mean, the way that he's going down, he's locking down, his assignment, on a week to week. He's out there playing like one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL.
I don't want to take away from Rasul Douglas or what he's doing, but Christian Benford as well. Both of them are playing out of their mind.
Both of them are, but you got to look at it where it comes from. It's coming from the leadership and the tutelage of a Rasul Douglas. Like, I mean, the way he's coming up, supporting the run, the way he's making plays, like teams aren't even throwing at him. They're throwing at Benford, but he put his strap on too. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing about that. It all begins with the veteran leadership in the room, and it starts with Russell Douglas when it comes to that secondary. So um, I've been impressed on how consistent he's been. I'm trying to figure out when the Bills are going to extend this guy
Yeah.
because his contract is up. So like the defense is playing the way they're playing because you got a good mix of rush and pass defense. So you got a good balance going on. You don't want to disrupt that. So Russell Douglas, um, nobody's really mentioning the way that Osiris Torrance has been playing, up front. I mean, when you look at this line, Deion Dawkins definitely should be all pro this year. Spencer Brown, he can easily make the Pro Bowl, but Osiris Torrance is definitely not being mentioned on how they are able to run the ball up the gut every
Yep.
week and find success. So it's just that everybody is complimenting each other the way it should, and that's where you see that continuity, and that continuity breeds confidence. And those guys go out there and move the ball against anybody in the league. So that's the testament to the coaches, the way they go out there and prepare those guys on a week to week to get it done. And then again, you bring in a guy like Amari Cooper, and that just opens everything up. It's going to be really tough down the line to see how teams are going to really prepare for this Bills offense because it's like a box of chocolates. You never know which one is going to, you never know which one is going to go off at any given moment. So, it's a good problem to have. Um, it's a good problem to have. And, hey, trade deadline is the 5th, so the Bills may not be done. I know I went out and tinkered with, the Cooper Cup thing. That went kind of crazy. But, yeah, you got to give Brandon Bean credit, right? You got to give him his flowers because you can't say that he ain't trying
Yeah.
to make this team one of the top contending teams.
Yeah.
So for him to go out there and reach out and check on Cooper Cup, yeah, it was a possibility, that he could have became a Bill after the fact, the Bills went after Amari Cooper. But, Thursday night happened, and that kind of like said, you know what? The way the NFC West is shaking up, there's
Yeah, they got a shot.
there's
I'm
no
not going to
reason
give
to
up on
trade
them.
their guys now
Yeah,
because, shoot, they're half a game out of the division right now.
yeah,
So that's the end of that. I know everybody was going crazy, like, oh yeah, but the Bills were heavily interested in Cooper Kupp. But Thursday changed that a lot. So, not to say that Brandon Beane is not going to be on the phones no more. He's still on the phone, moving and willing and dealing. Um, I thought they would probably go out to JOK, but JOK got carted off with a neck injury today. So
yeah.
that'll ruin those chances. But I don't know. Maybe the Bills will bring Micah Hyde back come after the bye week, and that would definitely strengthen up the defense because you bring a guy back that's embedded this defense, forever. Um, Bills has yet to activate Mike Edwards, so I don't know. Maybe the Bills probably package Mike Edwards off somewhere for a conditional pick to make room for Micah Hyde joining this team. Because at this point, the Bills are going to make the playoffs. If they beat Miami, they're in the driver's seat for the division, and something like that would definitely get Micah Hyde off the couch for another stab at a Super Bowl run. So, do they need to go try for a linebacker? That would probably be most suited, if anything, as far as bringing the person in for a trade. But Brandon Beane is full of surprises, so you never know. We got a week and a half.
Yeah. And we seen Brandon Beane make some moves, before. We seen him make moves earlier this year, and for him to say that, hey, we might be seeing some more moves is huge, because usually he say we're done and then he'll shock you with a move, but he's actually admitting like, we might actually go after some more people. So we'll see what happens there. But big day for the Bills. You got a Ravens loss, you got a Bengals loss, you got a Dolphins loss, a Jets loss. Big day for the Bills. A big W for them as well. They're looking like one of the best teams in the league right now. So we'll see what happens going forward. But did you have any last thoughts before we get up out of here, Coach?
Yeah, I do. Come next week, we might have a very, very special guest that will be joining us on, Bill's, aka Wayne's World podcast, pretty soon, maybe as early as tomorrow. So check your local listens on that. Bills are in the driver's seat, 6-2. We'll chop it up with the coaches tomorrow as well. Go Bills.
See you guys later. Go Bills.
He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. You said something when they kick off. He